Good morning. Welcome to Conversations with Deborah. This is Malcolm Berman, actually a bilingual dialogue. This is Malcolm Berman with my co-host, Deborah Manning. Hi, Deborah.
Hey, how are you, Malcolm?
I'm fine. And by the way, we're being heard on malcolmpresents.com.
Oh, nice.
This and other shows, which again, it's international. It's amazing.
Well, actually, you know what? I've watched some of the shows and they are very interesting. And what a marvelous time for the technology to be able to open up avenues for people not to be censored, at least in this method with the Zoom meetings. It's fabulous. It's absolutely fabulous.
Yeah,
So
well,
today, Tuesday, November the 24th, is it not?
24
The
or you're right. I forget the dates now that I don't have to go to an office.
Well, I think it's kind of good. So Tuesday, November the 24th of 2020. So at any rate, we had one of our first cold nights last night here in South Carolina. And keep in mind, I'm sure everybody already knows I'm a native Californian, but moved back to South Carolina now 5 years and about 24 days. And it's been a real interesting experience. Our temperatures went down to just about freezing this last week, and then we're only down to about 39 last night. But it's a scream because we bring out the down blankets and the down comforters and all of that. And it's great because the cats we have 6 cats. All of them adopted us, but we decided to open up our home to all of these cats. But it's a scream because all of the cats then have decided they need to sleep directly with my husband and I. And it's funny because normally we would have cats all around me, but they're all asleep. And why is that? Once again, change of the seasons. So we're about 3/4 of the way through the leaves dropping. And Fish, my husband, his nickname is Fish, known as Fish because he is an artist. We spend about a half an hour to an hour a day raking up leaves, and it generally starts about the 1st of November, and it'll continue probably till mid-December. But it's good exercise, though. That's what I told you.
That's the question. How does your screen look? Because my screen just went to pop into something different.
Mine looks fine.
You look fine. I don't know what's. I hope it will be good.
Do you want to start over again?
No, I don't. I'm just trying to see if I could correct it.
Now, is it your screen or my screen?
Well, my screen now says Google. Oh, keep on talking. We'll see. Otherwise, we'll do another show.
Uh-oh.
That's what I say. Uh-oh. Keep on talking. Talking about.
All right. I'll keep on talking. So we're getting ready for the winter here. Now, winter in South Carolina, unlike Southern California, we actually do have 4 seasons. And we're getting ready for the winter here. I hate using the little hash marks, but it is true. We'll only get maybe a half an inch to maybe 2 inches of snow, generally in January. But we're getting the gardens all trimmed down and using the falling leaves as mulch to be able to protect all of our plants that are here, the roses and the gardenias, all of the azaleas that we have planted around the compound, as we call it.
The compound.
And we're finishing up the garden steps, which the prior owners had just put together, just falling apart wood blocks, and very dangerous coming up from because we live on a hill. But coming up from the driveway all the way up to our front porch was just made out of wood blocks, and people were constantly falling over. I couldn't do that. So Fish and I are working on a combination of pea gravel with pavers and with concrete surrounded by these wooden boxes. And they're just very nicely stair-stepping on down. So after I get done with you, I get a chance to go ahead and put on my concrete outfit.
Wow. Oh, by the way, I see the pictures again, so I don't know whether there's going to
good.
be, I don't know if there's going to be a hitch between. So, to my audience, pardon me if you don't see any pictures or you just see blank screens, but hopefully we'll still be talking. But I'm not a technician. I don't have my tech people here. So what you see is what you get.
What you see is what you get. So it's here. It's been very nice here. It's like I say, so different than Southern California because we do now have 4 seasons. And it does require you to have, we change out the clothes, we change out the bedding, we change out the curtains, all based on the season as it comes through, because we had a very, very hot summer and spent most of our time in our little blow up Coleman spa, which
Wow.
worked out beautifully, a little dipping spa, so to speak. But now we've taken that down and we're getting all of the last minute winter things done, like making sure that all of the outside hoses have been, we get rid of all of the water in the hoses and we put little caps on the outside spigots and those types of things. But it's fun. We're getting ready for Thanksgiving. The hens are crazy. We have a new flock of hens.
Are you having people come over or are you being
No,
safe?
no, we really do like, we generally stay pretty quiet on Thanksgiving. We'll end up doing a lot of work outside if it's nice. But no, I don't think so. I just seeing a little bit of a spurt of COVID cases, but not as much as the rest of the country. Everybody around here wears masks regardless. It's a Trump country. It voted predominantly Trump, I think 56-42 Donald Trump.
And Lindsey Graham, huh?
Yeah, and everybody basically wears masks and we socially distance and all of that. And it's the hospitalization rates are way down for everybody, even across the country. So
no,
we've got
hospitalizations are, from what I heard, are up around the country.
not necessarily, depends on the areas that you're looking.
We just hit over 260,000 people that have died.
Yeah.
That's
Well, it'll
people,
probably end up.
I don't understand. People are still, going against the government. We want individual freedom. Don't want to wear a mask. It's
America.
Crazy.
They have their rights to be able to do it, Malcolm. That's where you and I very much disagree.
Right. Yeah.
And I exercise my right, as does my husband, to wear a mask, and we socially distance. That is my choice. But if my next door neighbor doesn't want to do it, which actually he does not want to do it, that is his choice. And
now, if you went shopping in the same market, or you went to the feed store and they weren't wearing a mask, would you still patronize them?
Of course, it's fine
Even
because I'm wearing my mask. It's fine. That's my choice. It's their choice not to wear a mask.
Even though they could sneeze upon you and get the COVID germs on you.
I'm wearing a mask, and they're now saying CDC has finally revised their guidelines for the umpteenth time, which is a mask prevents not only you from giving COVID if you have it,
From getting
you getting it.
But are you wearing the right type of mask? Because I wear
Absolutely.
I wear a cloth mask. I don't have the.
We use the N95 masks, and the reason we're able to do that because we have plenty of them. We had a handyman business before we were shut down with COVID in February and March, and we don't have the handyman business anymore because obviously we don't want to take the chance to go out to people's homes, which is very odd because people are calling us. We get 7 to 10 calls a day asking for us to come into their homes, and we're just saying just wait. Let's just wait.
Well, that's what always amazes me when I talk to you, how a person as normal as you are and as caring as you are still in favor of Trump. It's sort of.
But you see, the problem is I don't listen to what he necessarily says. There are things that just drive me nuts about what Trump says. I look as to what he's done. I've been very pleased with the actual accomplishments, the peace treaties in the Mideast, the opportunity zones for Blacks and Hispanics, the tax cuts. It made a difference for us because it helped prevent taxation of my pension, which I worked so hard to get when I was a executive VP at Home Savings before I went.
So basically, your things are basically with Trump is a financial thing.
It's a financial thing, but it's also at this point right now, I was happy with the fact that there was a border wall that was started. I think that people are neglecting the point It's not to prevent necessarily the people from getting in, it's preventing the drugs from getting in. And this is a very interesting point. Some of our friends, acquaintances, I should say, were complaining about the fact that the quality of cocaine that they could get was way, way down ever since the wall was built. To me, that means that we have fewer drugs getting in here to the United States, fewer amounts of fentanyl getting in, fewer amounts of cocaine, and the whole gamut. And I think that's important. I don't, this opiate problem, it's killing our youth. It's killing the legacy of America.
Yeah, but
And,
a lot of those drugs are manufactured by large manufacturers within the United States. Plus,
well,
plus
some of them are, but some of them are not.
but
Fentanyl,
a lot of the illegal drugs are flown in. Right? They're not they don't cross over the border of Mexico.
well,
They're flown in.
all I know is that here on the ground here in South Carolina, the big complaint is they can't get good quality cocaine anymore because of the wall went up.
Well,
And that's from one person. It's just,
right. I don't know. I don't know what friends you have, but
well,
now, what do you think of his? Since the election, of him being so quiet. He's almost like in his cocoon. The only thing he's talking about really is that he won the election.
I think it's great. I think that he's being a good client. He's letting his lawyers do his talking. And at this point right now, they're working up the food chain in terms of due process. And I think that's fine. I think the ultimate decision is going to be made by the Supreme Court. And all of these denials by the state appeals courts and the appellate courts and what have you, it's fine. That's due process. That's the way it all works. And my concern at this point right now is I keep reading more information from various news sources, reading and listening. I'm concerned with ballots not having signature verifications. I'm concerned about the situation with Dominion software, with it being connected to the internet. All of these issues will be solved once the evidence is presented. It's not going to be presented to any of the mass media, CNN or Fox or MSNBC. It's going to be presented in a court of law.
Well, it hasn't been presented in a court of law. All those cases were turned down for lack of evidence.
They didn't present the evidence because they need to be turned down by these various courts to be able to work their way up into the various appellate courts and up to the Supreme Court. And once again, give him time, for heaven's sakes.
Yeah, what would happen? What would happen? A pointed question. What would happen if Biden takes the office of presidency, and let's say in the way things happen, let's say next year or 2022, they find out that Trump was right and that the election was rigged. What happens? And what would they do? Would they decide to impeach him? And if he's impeached and they want to impeach, who would become president?
It's what we have as a constitutional crisis when we have elections that cannot be trusted.
Well, okay. Now we've been a democracy since 1781. When was the first presidential election? I don't remember. I was a baby back then. But,
yeah, go ahead.
We've never had a problem like this.
Well, we've never had a situation where we've allowed mail-in ballots that have been notorious for fraud. We saw that because I was a resident of Orange County for 27 years. And in Orange County, in 2016, there was the overturning of a half a dozen Republican winners, legislators, that suddenly 4 or 5 days later, because of mail-in ballots, suddenly went to the Democrats. We know that with mail-in ballots, for example, in Michigan, there were a number of ballots that came in with only Biden indicated on the ballot, nothing on the down ballot. Very, very suspicious. Very suspicious.
Well, why are the Trump people are the only ones that know this? That the states basically where they have Republican assemblymen, Republican state government. Why aren't they suspicious? Why do they say, okay, everything was right? Why does from Home Security, Christopher Krebs, why did he say this was one of the safest elections? And why did, because of that, because he contradicted Trump fired him. Why he's the only one? I don't understand that.
Have you noticed that the left has spent 4 years plus trying to get rid of this president? And they have done it in a whole variety of ways. We also have what's called rhinos, which are Republicans in name only, that want to go ahead and, because they don't like Trump for a whole variety of reasons. I mean, this gentleman, this president, has been attacked even before he became president with unfounded, unsound allegations. And at this point right now, it doesn't surprise me that Republican rhinos are saying, oh, he doesn't have a case. I think the case needs to be placed in front of the courts, and that would be probably the Supreme Court, to make a judgment on this. I'm concerned that people like you, because you're a smart guy, Malcolm, I wouldn't be talking to somebody who was stupid. You're a smart guy. And I'm really concerned. This is not about Biden. This is not about Trump. And I've said this in the past. This is about our election. It's about our election integrity. And I'm very, very concerned when we allow so many mail-in ballots that have no verified signatures, no asking for identification. When you have simply a presidential a choice, one of those choices, and nothing on the down ballot. If it were turned around, I would have the same question.
Right. Well, I haven't heard that there was only a ballot only came in with Biden's name, and there was no room for Trump. And there was this.
No. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that the ballots came in, and the only person that was voted in that particular ballot, and it was 10 to 15, 20, 30,000 ballots that came in that way in Michigan and also in Wisconsin. Only the Biden box was checked. None of the down ballot boxes for senator or assemblyman or what have you, only the Biden box was checked. The other thing that's very odd to me is that when all of those ballots would come in, say 10,000 ballots, why are we going simply to Biden? It doesn't make any sense.
Well, then how come the Republicans gain
doesn't that
so
sound
much
squirrely to you?
Yeah, but they haven't proved it. They're the only ones that say they have it. They have not shown proof in all the courts.
And that's fine.
The latest
and
one.
They're not going to show it until, because it looks like it's spanning 5, 6, 7 states. And once again, they'll have their opportunity in court. They've got time to be able to do it. They've got to produce the evidence. And the more that I look at it, being a I'm still a private investigator, I think that they may have a very interesting case here. Now, what happens if in fact fraud is found and Biden is put in as the president? We got a serious problem. We got a serious problem.
Well, again, the question I have is as far as the mail-in ballots, before the election, it was everybody who was anybody, aside from the Trump people, said it's one of the safest things that we have is mail-in.
That's absurd. It is not one of the safest things.
How come most of the people who are involved with elections said that was the safest? They didn't. And the only one that Trump was the only, actually, he predicted what's going to happen. He said, if I lose, it's rigged. If I win, it's a fair election. If I lose the election, it's rigged.
Words. He's got to prove it. And I believe at this point right now, he will end up proving it.
His words were saying, I want to get rid of the Paris Accord. His words were, right now, I'm going to take out 2,000 troops from Afghanistan. His word was have you heard yesterday with the open sky policy of the planes? We're going to end the open sky policy and we're going to dismantle the plane. The only reason he wanted to dismantle the plane because he knows that if Biden came in and continues the open sky, that they'll have the planes. Now, if it's dismantled, they don't have it. How come? And since he's been defeated, he has changed the structure of the Pentagon and put all his, as they call the yes people in. I think it's like 3 or 4 civilians that are in charge now. It's sort of like he's sort of, okay, if I can't be president, I'm gonna take my basketball and go home.
Well, you and I disagree on it, and he's still the president, and he has made some good decisions. That was the whole reason that I supported him in 2020. He made decisions that helped many Americans, not only white Americans, but Black Americans and brown Americans and yellow Americans, all Americans. He made measures to help every single one of us. The worry that I have at this point right now, and I'm looking at the nominations that Joe Biden has suggested, and it's back to the swamp. It's back to the swamp again.
Wait a minute, I have something.
You've got to have people that want to care about people like you and me, the middle class, the people that keep this country moving, that provide the economic stimulus, and not just the elite, and not just the.
Well, basically, like the Trump taxes benefited mainly the elite, mainly the multimillionaires or the multi-billionaires. They're the ones that save the money. Right now, what the problem is I feel we are in so much, this country is almost in, this great debt. The national debt is, I don't know, triple than what it was.
And he just suggested for Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen. And the stock market hit over $30,000 in the 30,000 points, pardon me, for the first time in history. And most of the reason is because Janet Yellen has a reputation for having stimulus, out the wazoo. She loves to give away money. And once again, that's fine, but the economy at this point just needs to be unleashed, as it's starting to be unleashed in the red states and not in the blue states. The economy is recovering very, very well. The worry is if we keep printing money, it gets to be my concern, we keep printing money when the economy, in fact, simply needs to be unleashed the way it should be. We're going to have some real problems in terms of debt. That's going to be debt that your children are going to have to pay.
Well, yeah, but it's debt because the corporate taxes aren't there, or the taxes on the elite isn't there. Again, I forget which thing it was, but he told his friends, he said, "Oh, I'll pass this tax bill, and this is your benefit." And basically, any economist or that I've heard, say basically the ultra rich are the ones that get mainly the benefits of the tax break. Okay, so you get $2,000-3,000, which is great, but basically you're putting the whole damn country in debt.
Well, I do have to point out that we had the most robust economy in 50 years. We had the lowest Black unemployment rate in 50 years, the lowest Hispanic unemployment rate, and the highest employment rate of women. New started business, entrepreneurial, before the COVID hit, women were heading up all of those businesses. So he was doing something right, which was to deregulate. My worry is at this point right now, and I'm hoping that Joe Biden will listen to, and not simply listen to the Trump haters, but will not completely re-regulate everything. I don't want us to give up fracking because I don't want to go back to gas lines. I don't want us to give up our superiority in terms of oil and gas and natural gas. I don't want to see us to be beholden again to the oil cartels as we were in 1971 and 72, when I was trying so desperately to go ahead and fill up my gas tank of my little 63 Buick Riviera, which 8 miles to the gallon. And I could barely get back and forth between home and my community college, which I was barely able to get in because I had no money.
But he's
so lines.
He's done away with all the regulations that basically were involved with saving our planet. He's done he was trying to get California to reduce its gas emissions, which basically, when I first came out here in '77 and they started the emissions, well, actually it was improved, but I was told that you couldn't walk in the street without coughing. And as soon as they started, and you probably, I don't know if you're old enough.
No, I was a reporter. And the AQMD did an incredible job, right? Because I remember growing up and we were in Van Nuys, and you could literally, when you went out to recess, You could feel your lungs as you came back into the classroom. It was horrible. The Air Quality Management District in Southern California did a bang-up job.
But that
and
was
they made
Trump. That was Trump is trying to reduce with his executive orders. He thinks California is too hard, even though the people, we pay a little more. Granted, we pay a little more for gas, but is it worth it? He wants to get rid of a lot of the corporate. There's certain silly things I agree with you. You can't do something because there's a little mouse in the field, so the whole field is down. But there's certain things of the polluting of the water, of where toxic waste goes, that
I have to agree.
Major corporations don't, I mean, not that they don't care, but it costs them too much money to repair. And executive order, you don't have to do that now. That's going to.
I got my award from the Radio and Television News Directors Association for a 7-part series on hazardous waste. And I was assigned to go up to a dump site, the McCall dump site in Fullerton. This was years ago, but we were able to get the EPA because of the fact that we put together a story in which they had an old Chevron dump site that was used in World War II. Unfortunately, however, the developer was allowed to put houses right up to the dump site, and there were unbelievable problems for the homeowners. Fortunately, we were able then to get the attention of EPA, and EPA cleaned up that doggone dump site. And who did they charge? That's right, they charged Chevron. So I am very much an advocate. I'm a tree hugger along with you, my dear, but I don't want to have our superiority in terms of gas, in terms of oil. I don't want that to be used now against us, because in fact, the cartels, we've been in, we have enough of a past experience. The oil cartels held us to such a point where it became impossible to be able to operate. And now that we are free of the oil cartels, we're able to start to not worry about them, and we can start to bring some peace finally to the Middle East, which we all need.
Well, don't you think what we should do is more invest money into alternative fuel?
I think it's coming.
The new Green Deal, not necessarily the whole thing, but at least start implementing it, because from way that Biden's thing, it creates jobs. It creates.
Well, I don't think it creates jobs, but I must say that when we came across the country 5 years ago, we came across the country through Texas, and it was really something seeing the number of wind turbines that they had out there. It went for miles, hundreds of miles, these beautiful turbines that were producing alternative energy. And once again, I think that we can work our way into that, but we cannot go ahead and give up our superiority in oil and gas, because that then leaves us susceptible to the Mideast cartels, to China, to Iran. We can't do that. And that worries me, that I don't want America to be apologizing. Unfortunately, the way the prior administration, we went on an apology tour. There's nothing to apologize with America. America is a beacon, a leader, and it needs that.
That's the difference. When I hear the Biden people coming in now, I feel that America now is taking the leadership. I think with the Trump people, basically we were withdrawing. It's the old isolationists. It's America for Americans.
Did you read the Wall Street Journal editorial?
No.
About John Kerry? John Kerry has been apparently nominated by Joe Biden to be some sort of ambassador for climate change and what have you.
He's the one that helped put together the.
Yeah, John Kerry has never been known as a tough negotiator. And in fact, they talked about the fact that John Kerry's nomination is quote unquote catnip for China, which is right. You send John Kerry over there into China, he will come back stark naked wearing a barrel, because he does not know how to negotiate.
Well,
when it came to Iran, for heaven's sakes, not allowing in-person observation of the nuclear situation over there. Oh, please.
So our half hour was just up. Can you imagine? Okay, but one thing, basically, you think you have reason to believe that the election is rigged and that he didn't lose?
No, I don't. No, let's be very clear about this.
Okay.
That if there is evidence needs to be produced. Evidence needs to be produced in a court of law, not in the news media. I want to see precisely what the evidence is. And if in fact there is an issue and a problem, which at this point, I have suspicion to believe that there is a problem, then we need to seek a remedy. I am not going to go to that big conclusion of turning over this or turning over that. I think we need to proceed quietly and carefully, and we need to be very, very cognizant that the integrity of America is based also on its elections. We have got to have election security.
I agree with you, but basically, which I still don't understand, and which I say, they have gone to the courts, Rudy Giuliani, the last time, in Pennsylvania, they threw him out with saying, "You got to have evidence." And he said, "I don't have any evidence now." And what he had is on TV, he mentioned the word fraud. It's fraud and it's fixed. He did not mention.
Bottom line is, I want him in court. I want him in court. I want him doing the presentation in court. I don't want him talking in the news media. I don't want it being discussed on mass news, because it doesn't make a hill of beans of difference.
And how about the one second in command, which I just fired, Sidney Powell, which he said it's the governor of Georgia's in collusion with all these states. It's a big
prove it and prove it.
Well, and she was second in charge, behind Giuliani. Anyway, one last thing before we leave. What you doing? What you doing for Thanksgiving?
We're gonna have a very quiet Thanksgiving. We actually got you love this. We got a free Thanksgiving dinner thanks to Walmart. So, yes, we got turkey, we got stuffing, we got cranberry sauce, we got mashed potatoes, we got gravy, and green beans. So we have a free dinner. Thank you, Walmart. That's right. One of the things I love about South Carolina.
So it's you, fish, and the 6 cats?
And the 6 cats and all of our chickens, which I will not say the number of chickens that we have because it could be a violation of county. But at any rate.
well, as I say, what I want to do one day is for you to take either with and get some pictures, take your computer and go walking along. I want to see your hen house. That sounds pornographic. I want to see your hen house.
It is an absolute hoot. We are getting a dozen eggs a day. And what's so cool about it is that we're able now to give away. We have a number of existing clients that because we just simply sell the eggs for $5 a dozen, and it just covers the feed. That's all it does. And we're trying to make a little profit. But for the most part, for example, we have a number of people here that are in need, and we've been giving away dozens and dozens of eggs. And it's just so nice to be able to do that.
That's good. As I say, for such a good person you were, I don't know why you like Trump. Anyway, that's my last word.
Aw, have a great Thanksgiving, and we'll see you.
And I'll call you up. I don't know whether you want to do something, Friday at the end of the week, or we'll start next week.
We'll see. We'll see what happens.
Okay.
We'll be in touch.
Send my
Goodbye
love
to everybody. Have a great Thanksgiving.
Yeah. So send my love to Fish and all the chickies.
And very good. My love to
and everybody out there. Happy Thanksgiving. Bye.
Happy Thanksgiving.